Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome on back to another video. Today I have another Marvel Rivals character list for you. I think I cooked up some cool concepts. Today's gonna be the big bads of Marvel. Just straight up, I did put a poll and you guys did vote. Big bads won, so here we are today. And of course, let's go right into this. First up, I got the man, the myth, the Mad Titan, Thanos. I think Thanos, these are concepts, of course. I think all of these big bads, maybe half of them will come. I would like to see all of them personally. Let me know what you guys think. But I think Thanos is a lock for sure. I think eventually Thanos will come, and it'll be like an end of the year type character, like a December character. Like this year, I think Doctor Doom is probably gonna come, but maybe next year they drop Thanos. And personally, I would love to see Thanos. And if they do bring Thanos, I want him with the Infinity Gauntlet. I mean, look at this concept art. You can't have Thanos without the Infinity Gauntlet. That's like his whole thing. So here's a couple of abilities I have written down for him. I would want him as a tank, of course, but his primary fire, heavy gauntlet punches. Each hit cycles a different Infinity Stone. Stone effects power, knockback, space, pull, reality, distortion, etc. His first ability, the Space Stone, forced relocation. Thanos bends space instantly, swapping positions of two enemies or an enemy and a piece of terrain. Okay, because I want to get the stones involved. I feel like they should have different abilities, you know. The Reality Stone will be his second ability. False Battlefield creates a warp zone where enemy projectiles curve, abilities misfire, and allies appear duplicated to enemies. So kind of just like causing chaos all over the battlefield. Like the Reality Stone, you don't really know what's real, you know. His utility can be each time Thanos drops below a health threshold, a random stone activates automatically, granting shield, time slow, or damage reflection. So getting the time stone in there, getting the soul stone in there. I want all those stones to be a part of his kit. And then his ultimate, I debated. Okay, I picked two ultimates because I feel like one of them was just too busted. But the first ultimate here is the more balanced one. Thanos snaps the gauntlet, halving the effective combat power of everyone in the arena. Enemies reduce damage, cooldowns are slowed, allies damage resistant, cooldowns are accelerated, and Thanos becomes unstoppable and controls the center of the fight. Right? Has the damage of the enemy team and boost our team. Right? The other ultimate I had was eliminates half of the battlefield, including teammates, instantly. So, for example, let's say everyone's alive. All 12 people are alive. He does the ultimate. Of course, he's going to snap. 3 of your teammates die. 3 of their teammates die. It could be, like, that's kind of how I wanted to balance it. You know, like, it's straight up, like, halving. What if there's only 4 people alive? 1 person on your team? Yeah, 1 person on the other team. I feel like it'll be a good ult. Like if you're like you really just need to get that last 1%. You're at 99%, and you just need to get rid of 3 people. It doesn't matter if you're killing 3 people on your team, as long as you're there and you get that 1%. I feel like it'll be a good ult for situations like that. But let me know what you guys think. Maybe it's too busted. I could see him giving them his weapon that he used in Endgame. But I definitely want the Infinity Gauntlet. But let's keep going. Next, I got Knull. Wow, look at this concept art. I would love Knull in this game. And Knull was already like teased in the game. He had his own season, right? The symbiote season. Here's how he looked in that season. So this is official Marvel Rivals art. Like they already got the character design. You know, I wouldn't mind it. I would want him as a DPS. Here's his abilities. Launches shadowy symbiote tendrils that attach to enemies, draining their health and slightly darkening their screen until they are no longer connected. So they would need to like get it off them by using movement abilities, or just like movement abilities and just like moving it off them. So I feel like that'll be pretty strong. All black manifestation. Knull summons the all-black Necrosword from the ground, creating a corruption line that damages enemies and converts terrain into the symbiote matter that slows and weakens them. And then his second ability can be targets an area and claims it for Knull. Enemies inside suffer reduced healing, while allies gain lifesteal and movement speed as symbiotes surge from the ground. Because, you know, symbiotes, like, just like the organism, I guess, they feed off of other people. Imagine, like, there's an ability where it's like, if your allies are standing there, they get healed and the other enemy gets drained, basically. And then his utility can be enemies defeated near Knull leave behind symbiote husk that expand the max health or ability radius for a short duration, rewarding map control. And then his ultimate can be Knull plunges the battlefield into living darkness. Vision is heavily reduced for enemies. Symbiote constructs rise to block paths and absorb damage. Knull gains massive durability and can command tendrils to impale or pull enemies within the darkness. I mean, I know it sounds broken, but like in a vicinity, it'll be like a kind of like the Invisible Woman ult, like a circle. Like if you get someone in there, they can't see, they're gonna get pulled and they're gonna die. So kind of like that, radius. It's not gonna take over the whole map, is what I mean. But yeah, I think Knull could be really cool. One of the big bads of Marvel, obviously, like the king of the symbiotes. I think his lore is really cool. It's really sick design. Let's keep going. Next, I have Apocalypse. Of course, the big bad of the X-Men. Like, I can see them adding this one. I mean, he looks sick. This is a sick character. I thought APOC was pretty cool in, what was it, Days of Future Past? But I would like to see him in Rebels. I have him here as a tank. His primary fire could be heavy energy enhanced punches. Each hit marks enemies, increasing the effect of Apocalypse's mutations on them. Sorry, I can't. But yeah, he's gonna be a brawler, bro. Big punches. And then his first ability could be Apocalypse selects one of 3 temporary mutations based on the fight: War Form, Survival Form, Control Form. And what they do is, War Form is increased damage, and Survival Form is massive damage resistance and self-healing, and then Control Form slows and pulls and disrupts enemies. Because, you know, Marvel Rivals like the devs like to give abilities that have abilities, like the magic through the portal, demon, or the swing, and want to do something like that for APOC. And then his second ability can be Apocalypse slams the ground, sending out adaptive shockwaves that change based on his current mutation, so based on the form that he was in. And then his utility can be each time Apocalypse survives a burst of damage or crowd control, he adapts, gaining permanent minor resistance to that damage type for the rest of the round. And then his ultimate can be, what I have here is Apocalypse fully evolves, grows larger, and gains new attack patterns. Nearby enemies suffer constant debuffs. Allies gain mutation buffs based on Apocalypse's current form. So kind of similar to the Rogue ult, where he's gonna have like this kind of like aura around him. And you know how Rogue, like when she's near you, she's draining your ult charge. This is more like you're gonna get debuffed if you're near him. And of course he's gonna get stronger. But I think Apocalypse could be really dope. Let me know what you guys think. One of the big bads of the X-Men. Let's keep going. Next, I got Kang the Conqueror. Now, before Avengers Doomsday, it was gonna be Kang, right? You know, he was gonna be a big bad, you know. I think Kang's pretty cool. I think they could still do Kang down the line. I don't think his character's fully finished in the MCU. Maybe they leave it in the past. Maybe they recast him. Who knows? But I would want Kang as a strategist, a healer. I feel like it will kind of make sense. Even this concept art has him as a strategist. But even this one, I think it makes sense. A lot of other people think it makes sense. But you know, I don't want all the big bads to just be tanks. I mean, I feel like the majority of this list is gonna be tanks, because they're big bads, literally big and bad. But you know, I got some DPS in here, I got some healers. I was trying to mix it up just a little bit. Kang could be a healer, and this is what I have for him. His playstyle is basically going to be time manipulation, prevention, over raw healing. And then his primary fire is fires a time energy blast that damages enemies and slightly heals allies that it passes through. So like another one of those ones that's like the primary fire damages and heals. Gambit, Visible Woman, Cloak and Dagger. Those are always good. Those are always my favorite. The ones that just heal, like I remember Jeff was just a heal one, but now they changed that one. And then what is it? Adam Warlock, his only heals. I like the ones that do both, so I wanted to give him that. His secondary fire, temporal switch, locks onto an ally and rewinds their health over 2 seconds, restoring damage they recently took. And then his first ability can be marks an ally's position in health state for 5 seconds. Reactivating it rewinds them to that state. So, like, if you're, because you know his whole thing is time. Now, if your ally's health is going down, you basically, his heal is like he rewinds your health back to what it was. Like he doesn't, like that ability is not just gonna straight up heal. He's gonna revert like what your health was 5 seconds ago. You know what I mean? To put it in simpler terms. And then his second ability can be creates a small time distortion zone. Allies inside receive slow and steady healing. Enemies inside are slowed and deal reduced damage. And then his ultimate can be for 8 seconds. All allies cannot drop below critical health, and Kang automatically rewinds fatal damage once per ally. So literally, your allies can't die for 8 seconds. I was debating to make it more. I thought 8 was fair. So straight up, your allies just can't die for 8 seconds. That's going to be very crucial. I think 8 seconds is more than enough in very crucial fights. I would love to see Kang in Marvel Rivals. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys want Kang in Marvel Rivals, he's one of the big bads in Marvel. So I had to put him in this list. Let me know what you guys think. Let's keep going. Next, I got Dormammu. Wow, look at Dormammu. This concept art is awesome. Dormammu is one of my personal favorite villains. He's like a Doctor Strange villain. They kind of did him dirty in the movie. He's more stronger than that. But yeah, Dormammu. They can go something like this, or they can go a more traditional route. This is how he usually looks in the comics and stuff. Either way, I mean, they're gonna have cosmetics and stuff. But either way, I would love Dormammu in this game, like actually. And I would want him as a damage. I know a lot of people would want him as like a tank. Maybe I could honestly see him as a tank. I would want him as a DPS, just going crazy. But his playstyle would be like Hellfire, area control, overwhelming pressure. Okay, his primary fire could be Dark Flame Barrage, rapid fire, demonic flames that build, burn, and stack on enemies. So the more he's burning people, the higher the damage. Secondary fire could be Charge Projectile that detonates burn stacks, dealing bonus damage and a small splash. His first ability could be Dark Dimension Rift. Opens a rift that pulls enemies inward and continuously damages them for a short duration. And then his second ability could be Dormammu unleashes a wave of dark fire and a cone, knocking enemies back and applying heavy burn. So his whole playstyle is like gonna be like burning people like a Human Torch, but like his burn stacks. Cause you know Human Torch is, I don't know, does it stack actually? Actually, I don't know. I know he does more damage the closer he is to people. This is like you want to build a burn on your enemies, just like, you know, building it up, and you'll be dealing more damage over time as the match goes on. But his ultimate can be Dormammu transforms for 8 seconds. Primary fire becomes piercing hellfire beams. Burn stock spread to nearby enemies. Enemies below low health take execute damage. So like I want to say kind of similar to the Human Torch one where he throws out tornadoes, but this one's like straight up like fire everywhere. I think that could be sick. Just like a stacking damage character would be very unique in this game. I would love to see it, especially someone as cool as Dormammu. I love this character design. I love this character. Let me know what you guys think. But I would personally want Dormammu in this game. Let's keep moving. Next, I got Annihulus. Now this is a more underrated pick, but you know the Marvel Rivals devs like the underrated characters. They do. You know, no one knew who Luna Snow was before Marvel Rivals. Be straight up, you did not know who Luna Snow was before Marvel Rivals. But Annihilus, he's not like a nobody. Like, people know about him. They just came out with a game with him, and like Cosmic Rewind or something. I forgot what it was called, but he does have a fan base, and he is pretty cool. I mean, look at this concept art. This is awesome. Here's another art. This isn't concept art, but this is how he looks usually. Pretty sick character design in my opinion. But I would want him as a tank, and his playstyle will be like zone control, durability, and battlefield dominance. His primary fire will be short range energy blast that pushes enemies back and generates bonus threat. And his secondary fire could be charge slam that stuns enemies in a small area and grants Annihilus temporary armor per target hit. Okay. Now his first ability, deploy a forward-facing energy shield that absorbs damage and slowly regenerates while active. Okay, because he's got all his armor, you know, it makes sense, you know. And then his second ability could be creates a heavy gravity field. Enemies are slowed and pulled inward. Annihilus gains damage resistance while inside of the gravity field. And then his ultimate can be summons the power of the negative zone. Massive shockwave knocks enemies airborne. Annihilus gains huge armor and crowd control immunity. Nearby allies receive damage reduction. You know, he's a tank. I wanted to make him like a good tank ult. Like I don't feel like we have a good tank ult like this, where it's just like straight crowd control and helping your allies stay alive. Something like that could be really cool. I really like Annihilus's design. I think they can cook with this with their own original design. Even this concept art one is really good. But yeah, he would just be like a really tanky, like good, like balanced tank in my opinion. And then his passive can just be standing near objectives or multiple enemies, increases max health and resistances. So I made him pretty balanced overall, but let's keep moving. Next I got okay. Next I got Galactus. I know. How you're thinking, how the heck is Galactus gonna work in this game? Bro is bigger than planets. Look, he's holding planets in his hand right now. He can't fit on the battlefield. Look, canonically, Galactus can change his size, right? We saw it in the Fantastic Four First Steps movie. And he's a big bad. I wanted to include him on this list. I think this concept art looks sick. And I did cook with this one. Let me explain. Here's another art of him. Galactus is a sick character, but here you go. Obviously, he's going to be a Vanguard. He's huge. Okay? His playstyle is going to be pressure, area denial, inviolability. His primary attack can be Galactus fires sustained cosmic beams from his hands. Damage increases the longer the beam remains a target. Highly effective shields and objectives. Alright? So, beams from his hands and doing all types of cosmic and galactic stuff. And then his secondary attack, charge and throw a compressed gravity mass that pulls enemies inward before detonating, dealing bursts of damage and briefly slowing all effective enemies. His first ability could be Galactus stomps forward, sending shockwaves into a wide line, damage and knocks back enemies, destroys terrain and deployables, grants brief crowd control resistance during the stride. So of course he's gonna be stomping. You know, he's gonna be the biggest tank. Of course, he's not gonna be like a million feet tall in the game, but he's gonna be the biggest tank. So he's gonna be stomping on people. And then his second ability could be Galactus drains cosmic energy from nearby enemies, and it restores his health, reduces his cooldowns, temporarily increases size and damage when fully charged. So, because you know he's a planet eater, and that's how he gets his energy. So if you know if he's draining the energy from the players, you know, it makes sense that he gets more energy. Okay. Now, before I get into his ultimate, I want to get into his passive first, because look, Galactus grows stronger as the match progresses, gaining increased max health and enhanced ability effects over time. So, as the match is going on, he'll start smaller at first, but the more energy he's getting over the match, he's gonna get bigger and bigger and bigger until there'll be a max to it. But so he's the biggest tank. I think that could be dope because he can change his size, and the more he eats, the bigger he gets. I think that could be a cool concept that the Marvel Rivals can implement. But his ultimate I have here is Galactus anchors himself down and begins planetary consumption. Right, massive area damage over time. Enemies are pulled toward him, and ends with a devastating cosmic blast. So basically, it's gonna be an area doing a bunch of damage. As soon as that ult's about to end, a big blast, probably killing the whole team. Galactus probably would be a busted character, but I think it could be sick. Let me know what you guys think, but let's keep moving. Next, I have Sentry. Dude, this concept art is sick. This looks like it's real. This looks like it needs to be in the game. Yes, sir. Sentry. With the Void? Well, I would love Sentry in this game. Obviously, I would want him as a DPS. His playstyle will be high damage and momentum-based aggression. His primary attack will be Sentry fires rapid, high-velocity energy strikes from his hands. Concussive hits on the same target increase damage briefly. And his secondary attack can be Sentry charges forward in a devastating punch. On impact, the target is launched backward and takes heavy burst damage and can be used mid-air. He's gonna be flying for sure. His first ability could be Sentry overloads himself with solar energy, increases his damage and attack speed, converts portion of damage dealt into self-healing, and ends early if Sentry is crowd controlled. So if there's a lot of people around, it'll actually end quicker, and it's basically like a self buff. And then his second ability, because I wanted to include the Void as well, that's kind of part of his thing, so I got a little Void in here. Sentry taps into the Void to unleash a shockwave, deals heavy damage in a radius, disorients enemies briefly, and leaves Sentry vulnerable for a short moment after use. It's gonna be kind of like the what's that when the Doctor Strange unleashes the dark energy, something like that, but a little bit more strong. And then his ultimate can be Sentry erupts into full power, flight enabled, greatly increased damage and movement speed. Final strike releases a massive energy explosion. So kind of like almost like a Dark Child, just a crazy version of him, going absolutely ballistic. His passive can be dealing damage, builds stability, taking heavy damage drains it. At low stability, Sentry's damage increases, but control effects last longer on him. I think Sentry's almost guaranteed in this game, especially after the Thunderbolts movie. People will love him now. I think the Marvel Rivals devs are definitely thinking to put him in here eventually. I think eventually we will get Sentry. It will be sick, but let's keep going. Next, I got Onslaught. Now again, another more underrated pick, but Onslaught's a sick character. This is a sick character design in my opinion. Just the design alone is sick. Imagine what the Marvel Rivals devs can do with a design like this and cook with it even more. Just awesome. Onslaught, yes sir. But I would want him as a tank, and his playstyle will be area control, disruption, and frontline dominance. His primary attack will be Onslaught unleashes short-range psionic blast that deal steady damage and slightly slow enemies on hit. And then his secondary attack can be grab a nearby enemy or an object and hurl it forward, damaging and briefly stunning all enemies on hit. And then his first ability can be Onslaught manifests a massive psychic shield, absorbs incoming damage, converts absorbed damage into bonus health. Enemies striking the shield take minor feedback damage. So it'll be a shield, right? And obviously it's gonna protect you. It's a shield, but when the enemy hits it, it's gonna minorly hit them back, like damage them basically. And then his second ability could be Onslaught slams the ground, releasing a psychic shockwave, knocks enemies upward, disrupts abilities, applies a brief distortion effect. Like, again, he's gonna be big, he's gonna be massive, he's gonna be disrupting the battlefield. I can see him doing something like that. And then his ultimate can be Onslaught expands his presence across the battlefield, greatly increases size, health, and control resistance. Enemies within range are slow and periodically pulled inward. So, kind of like a Hulk ult, where he just gets big and strong, but kind of fused with a Emma Frost ult, where they're just getting pulled into it. They can't escape. So kind of like more busted in my opinion. And then his passive can be the more damage Onslaught absorbs, the harder he becomes to stop. Increase damage resistance over time while in combat, reduce crowd control duration. He's gonna be a tanky tank. He's a big boy. But let me know if you guys want to see Onslaught. More of an underrated pick, like I said. I think the character design is just peak on its own. I feel like they would just want to do it because of that. The lore behind the Onslaught is actually really cool. You guys should look into that. It's pretty sure it's like Magneto and Professor X, like something like they had a fuse or there's some crazy lore behind it. You guys should look into it. But I would love Onslaught in this game. But last but not least, I got Dracula, right? We had a whole Dracula season as well, like the Knull one. So, you know, they already have the character design. This is how he looked in the game. This is Dracula. Again, another big bad in Marvel. I think it could be sick. I would want him as a healer. I think it makes sense as a healer, you know, kind of like lifesteal. Actually, I have an ability like that, and I'm gonna read it here. Dracula fires dark energy bolts that damage enemies. A portion of the damage dealt is stored as a blood reserves. Keep that in mind. Now, his secondary attack, Dracula releases stored blood reserves to heal targeted allies over time. Excessive healing grants temporary lifesteal buff. So basically what he is in order to heal your enemies, you lifesteal, right? You lifesteal from, I said heal your allies. You lifesteal from the enemies, and that health you get, you could use on your allies. All the damage you're doing, you use to heal your allies, you know, because he's a vampire, Dracula. I think it makes sense, okay? His first ability could be Veil of the Night. Dracula cloaks himself in a shadow, becomes briefly intangible, gains movement speed. Nearby allies receive gradual healing while the veil is active. And his second ability can be Dracula marks enemies in an area. Damage dealt to the marked enemies heal nearby allies. Dracula gains damage reduction while enemies remain marked. So again, another lifesteal, but your allies are in control of it this time. So when you activate this ability, and as long as your allies are doing damage within that ability, they're getting healed for it. It's a pretty dope ability. And then his ultimate can be Dracula transforms into his true vampire form. Constant area healing around him. Enemies within range suffer life drain. Healing increases based off the number of enemies affected. So kind of like a magical, but if it was a healing ult. Pretty cool. And then his passive could be healing and damage both generate blood reserves at low health. Dracula's healing effectiveness increases. But that's my 10 big bads I would like in Marvel Rivals. I do have one honorable mention, and of course it's Doctor Doom. This is how he actually looks in Marvel Rivals already. We don't have Doctor Doom yet, but I didn't include him on my 2026 prediction list, so check out that video. But I didn't want to include him on this list because I had him on that list, But of course, I want Doctor Doom. We all want Doctor Doom. I think he's coming in December when the Doomsday movie drops. But let's recap real quick. All right, so I got Thanos, Knull. I actually think this one will actually come. Apocalypse, yes sir. Kang, the freaking Conqueror, yes sir. Dormammu, yes, double sir. Annihulus, yes sir. Galactus, okay. You gotta believe in me on this one. I cooked a little bit, okay? I cooked a little bit. Sentry, I think this one will come. Onslaught, sick design, and Dracula. But thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for all the support this series has been getting. As long as you guys keep watching, I'm gonna keep doing this series. Thank you guys so much. Till next time, peace.